Welcome back, folks, to Old Times is Not Forgotten. Today, you will be listening to the news, good and bad, from the Forties. And to add to the excitement, I will be putting some silly novelty songs that are sure to make you giggle. The newspaper today is the Ionia Sentinel Standard from Ionia, Michigan, with a variety of articles from 1940 to 1945. In the 40s, there was a unified hatred of Germans and German immigrants, as this first story tells, from May 29, 1940. Paint German swastika on a Lion's car. Ionia County Sheriff's officers Wednesday were investigating a report that a German swastika had been painted on an automobile belonging to John Klock, Lion's Chair Factory manager and dog trainer. The car had first been painted yellow, Deputy Sheriff Carl W. Stearns reported. Klock told officers that he had been a resident of the United States for the past 18 years and that he had been training dogs for the leading of blind persons. He said he does not discuss politics. Klock said he had offered a $50 reward for information leading to the arrest of persons responsible for painting his car. Klock came to the Lions from Chicago to assume leadership of the Lions Chair Factory, which recently was closed. He has appeared before both the Ionia Lions and Rotary clubs in dog training demonstrations. In May of 1940, the Americans were still neutral. Restrict Americans, London. Americans are placed under alien restrictions in England today for the first time since the outbreak of the war. They were included with all other neutrals, as well as nationals of countries allied with Britain under a curfew and activity limitation to become effective June 3rd.
Now at every party there's always a smarty who likes to show off in some way. Some folks desire to sit by the fire while others with music they play. One night in November I'll never forget, I was invited to play at a dance. I brought my music and instrument, but I wasn't given a chance. I took my organ to the party, but nobody asked me to play. The others were jolly and hearty, but I wasn't feeling so gay. They might have said, play us a song we can sing, but somehow I don't think that they noticed the thing. And it was such a big organ too, stood about that high. I took my organ to the party, but nobody asked me to play. They let Mrs. Wither play on her zither and somebody else did a dance. I saw Miss Maraca shaking her kanakas, but I wasn't given a chance. A fellow named Teal made a noise like a seal. I said, this guy must be in a rut. While Mrs. O'Dooley played I Love You Truly, for an encore she sang Kelsey's Nuts. I took my organ to the party, but nobody asked me to play. The others were jolly and hearty, but I wasn't feeling so gay. I felt so ashamed at not striking a note that I tried to hide the old thing under my coat. And I couldn't make it. It was such a big organ, stood about that high. I took my organ to the party, but nobody asked me to play. I felt so embarrassed when I heard someone say, I wonder if that broken down organ can play. I took my organ to the party, but nobody asked me to play. Not even the maid, nobody asked me to play. Not even the hostess, nobody asked me to play.
An anxious husband. A Maryville man's wife was several hours overdue from a rather lengthy trip, and he was greatly worried. When she finally arrived, he greeted her with, "I'm certainly glad to see you. I've been worrying. I thought maybe something had happened to one of my tires." Here's a bit of small-town news that was a bit of an embarrassment. Tries depositing a letter in a fire alarm box. When Louis Jennings, 79, attempted to mail a letter in a box at Jones and Jefferson Street at 2:30 Wednesday, he had considerable difficulty finding the place for the envelope. He pulled the handle but got no result, so moved on down the street to a large mailing box at Jefferson and Lincoln. A couple Ionia fire trucks dashed by him at this point and stopped at the place where he had first tried to mail the letter, for Mr. Jennings had pulled a fire alarm box. Chief Harlan Eggleston comforted him with the knowledge he was far from the first to make this mistake. Some of these articles sound more like gossip than news. One of the most unusual fashions in headdress for men was seen this week on a young man who visited one of the offices in the State Bank building. The band of his hat was beautifully adorned with various sizes of fishhooks and many colors of trout flies. Speaking of fishing, when Monday's night's downpour rained out the second game at the fairgrounds, Seth Manning and Al Polus hurried home to get into their fish togs and head out for a catch in that hard rain. We'd call that more like swimming. But that is when some of the boys like to catch them. Incidentally, it is reported Al has been taking some trout from some of the neighborhood rivulets that are almost as big as the stream themselves. Let's see what was playing at the Ionia Theater in 1940. Starts today, grand double feature program, Your Dancing Co-eds, Broadway Bound. Romance set to laugh, laughter, and song with lovely Lana Turner in the arms of George, Broadway melody Murphy. In Two Girls on Broadway.
My grandpa had a long one, it nearly touched his chin. My uncle has a small one with hardly any skin. My daddy has a broad one just like a rolling pin. But mine is big and round and fat, it looks more like a baseball bat. You never saw a nose like mine before. Noses, they run in my family. Some are big, some are small, some you cannot see at all. Noses for over a century. Now isn't it a shame? There are no two the same. My cousin has a bent one, it really is a pip. My nephew has a short one with freckles on the tip. His stepson has a thin one just like a horse's whip. But mine, I tell you, beats the band. My sweetie thinks it's simply grand. You never saw a nose like mine before. My brother has a big one that's always in his way. My junior has a hard one just like a hunk of clay. My uncle has a cold one that leaks all through the day. But mine's a peach, I tell you guys, it really ought to win a prize. You never saw a nose like mine before. Ah, ah, ah.
Fire!
Ah,
Fire!
ah,
Fire!
Scandal. A certain professor driving a green car was seen to stop said car recently on the brow of a hill and to kiss his wife. If this happens again, the aforementioned professor will be asked to show his marriage license. Thank you, Dorothy. But wait a minute, you're not excused yet. In re of the above-mentioned professor, surely you don't mean us. Our car hasn't been green since 1937. It has been slowly fading out to a kind of bilious yellow-blue. Oh my goodness, you would never see this ad today. Husbands in the doghouse. Here's how to tame the shrew. It takes only a few minutes and a few cents to please a scolding, vexatious woman. If she has been harping about something you are supposed to fix or replace around their house, why not give us a ring or drop in and let us help you make her happy? Man, we'll show you how to make her tongue drip honey with the right things and good advice. Complete selection of tools and hardware supplies at Ionia Hardware Company on the Hardware Corner, Ionia, Michigan. The sheriff's force shows it has speed. When the addition of 3 man-sized deputies to the staff of the county sheriff over a year ago brought the combined weight of the 4-man department to nearly half a ton, it was a general suspicion the speed of the department would be cut down correspondingly. That theory was at last disproved Friday morning when Loyal Hodson, 300-pound heavyweight champion of the department, put on a burst of unbelievable leg action across the front of the lawn of the courthouse to nab a tipsy driver who had just pulled away from the curb and was heading weavingly westward on Main.
Yes, there's plenty going on in this little old world of ours. Let's see what's cooking. Here comes a bit of news. A hurricane put the electric power plant out of business at Amesbury, Massachusetts. That put Farmer Woodsom's electric milking machine on the blink. He called for help, and Fire Chief George McDougal and his men came a-running. The fire department milked the 50 cows by hand, and that's what I call pulling together, boys. Facts magazine tells about the most expensive kiss on record. A lady dove sat on a high-tension wire. Her boyfriend sat on another wire, and then they kissed. And whammo! The powerhouse in the town of Phoenix, Arizona, went out of business for half an hour. The doves? Oh well, maybe they're just as happy. Are you listening, girls? You may know your reading, writing, and arithmetic, but what do you know about this? Sure, it's a man, but is he the right man? Needn't worry about that anymore. The Mundelein College, Chicago, has just begun a new class on how to choose a husband, how to keep him, and how to spend his money, as if you didn't know. Listen. Shh, fellas and girls, here's a little secret. It's just between you and me and the ticker. The War Department doped this one out. John, suppose you were here in London. And Jane, suppose you were here in Florida, about 4,000 miles apart. And you want to get hitched. The War Department says you can stay right where you are and get yourselves married in Tulsa, Oklahoma, by mail. And it's simple, too. John writes an I do letter to Oklahoma. Jane does the same. And Oklahoma says, I pronounce you man and wife. The only thing left is the distance between you and Jane. The War Department hasn't any idea what to do about that. But cheer up, kids. We'll have television soon. Taking candy from a baby is supposed to be the height of something or other. But here we have a bunch of kids in Mrs. J.T. Wright's nursery in Dallas, Texas, who were robbed. Yes, robbed. A low-down burglar got away with a box of 200 diapers. Well, anyway, that's one thing they can't pin on the kids. Talking about inventions, here's something, brother. The United States Patent Office has just issued a patent on an overcoat. Not just an ordinary coat, of course. This one is heated by electricity. The warming current of comfort comes from a bunch of batteries which you carry in a suitcase. Hope the inventor provides a little trailer with a fire extinguisher, you know, just in case of a hot seat. Calling all fishermen. Yep, you fellas with your rods and reels. The Wildlife Service at Washington, D.C. is coming out with a new radar gadget. This doohickey will locate schools of fish, tell you which way they're going, and let you know their exact size. The Army Air Force has published a book on what to do if you happen to fall into the water and meet up with a shark. Under Rule 1, the trick is to make a quick swing at the shark. Slap the water around and holler like blazes. Now, that's supposed to ruin the shark's self-confidence. If that doesn't work, grab the shark's dorsal fin and hang on until he gets tired. If that doesn't work, haul off and give him a swift kick in the nose. A shark can't take it on the snoot. There's nothing to it. Here's a very, very sad piece of news. A gasoline truck pulled up to Walter Secchieri Station in Detroit. The driver connected the hose and pumped gas into the pipe, but the gasoline gauge said empty. Now let's take a look under the sidewalk. This is the station's gas tank, and this is where the gas went, right into the sewer. 864 gallons of good gas right into, well, let's draw a curtain over this sad episode. Next time you go to New Jersey, in the neighborhood of West Orange, look up a fellow named Coughing Arslanian. He's a Yale graduate. Don't know the exact address, but he lives among the branches of a giant oak tree. His home has a floor and a ceiling, but his wife couldn't get used to no walls, so she left, and our friend is still up a tree. So about your pinup girls, well, fellers, here's a gal, and what a gal. Just listen to this. She's a volunteer, 25 years old, worth $7 million. And what a scrapper. She was in the sneak attack on Pearl Harbor. Got herself badly injured, too. Spent a year getting over that. Then she did her stuff at Normandy on D-Day, and again at Cherbourg. She's got plenty of service ribbons and the Purple Heart. Who is she? The battleship Nevada. What a gal, what a gal. How's your memory? Who said these words? We can, we will, we must. Yes, FDR, you said it.
I wonder what was playing at the Ionia Theater in 1942. Let's see. Edward Small presents Alexander Dumas's Most Amazing Adventure Romance, The Corsican Brothers, starring Douglas Fairbanks Jr. with Ruth Warwick.
Yes, in democratic America, everybody is doing his bit. There goes Jimmy Stewart on his way to enlist, one of the most popular stars on the screen. Joining the Air Force as a private, Jimmy has now won promotion. Today, he's Lieutenant Stewart, USA. That husky young Negro en route to an Army induction center is the heavyweight boxing champion of the world, Joe Louis, the boy who beat Max Schmeling. The Army can use that fighting spirit, and Joe Louis is now a corporal of cavalry somewhere in the West. walks of life, even from the nation's highest tribunal. A Supreme Court Justice, Lieutenant Colonel Frank Murphy, answers his country's call. A veteran of the last war, he saw service overseas. Back in uniform, the judge is again ready for duty at the front. Moviegoers of years ago will remember Jackie Coogan. Charlie Chaplin made him famous as the Kid. Well, Jackie's in the Air Force now, a staff sergeant and qualified glider pilot. A movie star of modern times is sworn into service. Tyrone Power, hero of many a daring exploit on the silver screens of the world. He'll now play his greatest role as a leatherneck Marine. Somewhere in Egypt, President Roosevelt's eldest son, James, sees war as a major of Marines. Today, that experience stands him in good stead. For Communiqué's report, Major James Roosevelt is with the Marines battling in the South Pacific. Franklin Roosevelt Jr. is in uniform. His fellow officer is Douglas Fairbanks Jr., a lieutenant in the Navy. Young Doug, like his famous father, every inch a man, is serving with the fleet. Clark Gable, at 41, renounces his throne as America's most popular film star to join the United States Army Air Force. Enlisting as a private, his ambition to become a crack aerial gunner in the crew of a bomber. The only son of General John J. Pershing wins his promotion from private to second lieutenant. The Army's Chief of Staff, General Marshall, personally awarding the commission. A general's son, up from the ranks. Yes, movie stars arriving in Washington to help sell war bonds are all working for the same cause. The parade down Pennsylvania Avenue is a pageant of patriotism. Bing Crosby in a scout car. Jimmy Cagney. Abbott and Costello, popular comedians of stage, screen, and radio. They all assemble on the Treasury steps to launch the drive for funds. Greer Garson, Jimmy Cagney, Ann Rutherford, Irene Dunn, Hedy Lamarr. And how that crowd lines up to buy bonds from their favorites. They buy knowing that every dollar invested helps send more planes, tanks, and ships to the United Nations. This is the people's way of saying, from the home front to the battlefront, from movie stars to sales clerks, America's 130 million citizens are in the war.
Here's a quick message from a cow. I work every day of each month to help win the war. I leave it to humans to design engines of warfare. For my job is to produce food. The food that I provide permits aviators to see better and fly faster and longer, gives steady nerves to tank drivers, and offers unbound stamina to naval technicians, to Marines, paratroops, and foot soldiers. I am with you to victory, whether you are at work, at home, in the city, on the farm, in the air, or in the mine, or on duty in Greenland, Iceland, Ireland, Panama, Alaska, Africa, Hawaii, Australia, Puerto Rico, or South America. Did you know in World War II, white stripes were painted on the sides of cows so that motorists who, during blackout conditions, wouldn't run them over? Smiling at you from behind his desk in the War Department is Brigadier General James H. Doolittle, the man who led the flight of the U.S. Army bombers in the raid on Tokyo and other Japanese cities. It is not improbable that General Doolittle and his merry men may make another foray from the U.S. Air Base at Shangri-La to give the Nips an encore and to keep 'em frying. Wowee! Look at the advertisement for the Ionia Theater in 1945. She's got the rationing blues. No meat, no butter, cupboard bare, rationing book empty. Points for your pleasure to ease the squeeze. There's no rationing at the movies. Take in all you want. It's greater movie season in the Butterfield Theaters, a sure sign of good entertainment. The Laugh Riot. 50 million radio fans are waiting for this hilarious movie called It's in the Bag, starring Fred Allen and Jack Benny.
72.
72.
And you? I'm going wherever she goes. Look, Marion, if you don't love me anymore, well, tell me and I'll stop bothering you. I just want to know, that's all. Well, can't you say anything?
10th floor.
Marion, you remember the...
Wait a minute. Never mind. I want to see how this comes out.
Marion, have you forgotten those wonderful nights in the laboratory while I worked on my invention?
15th floor.
Did all those promises mean nothing?
Well, somebody wanted the 15th floor.
I get Skip it. What about that night in the Chop Suey restaurant? What about Coney Island? Forgotten our bench on every side.
23rd.
It's the last time I'll play Jim Rummy.
You know what happened in that bridge game?
Quiet! How can you talk about bridge at a time like this? Yeah, the man's whole future's at stake.
All I'm asking is a simple yes or no.
I've had enough of this. Now, look, lady, you're holding up traffic. Why don't you tell the man yes or no? Yeah, why don't you answer?
Tell him something.
I promised my father I wouldn't talk to him again.
She promised her father she wouldn't talk to you again.
Doesn't have to talk to me again. We'll find out whether she loves me or not.
He wants to know, do you love him or not?
Yes, I love him.
Yes.
Or we could watch in that cool Ionia air-conditioned theater, packed with adventure, twice as thrilling as the memorable Lassie Come Home, a picture you'll want to see again and again. Son of Lassie, starring Peter Lawford, Donald Crisp, June Lockhart, and Nigel Bruce. Death deals a hand when The Phantom Speaks, with Richard Arlen, Stanley Ridges, Lynn Roberts, and Tom Powers. What's the cost of all this fun? Weekday matinees, 25 cents. Evenings and Sundays, 35 cents. And as always, children, 12 cents. Now for two features. Love set to music and fun for all. Delightfully Dangerous, with Jane Powell and Ralph Bellamy, Constance Moore, and Morton Gould, and his orchestra. The second feature is Murder, Mystery, and Romance, Midnight Manhunt, starring William Gargan and the beautiful Anne Savage.
Frida, my clam digger sweetheart, you got me captured. I'm so enraptured, I'm a crazy nuts about you. Frida, my clam digger sweetheart, I need you badly, I love you madly, I'm passionately a cuckoo for you. Frida, you're so sexy, yes, it does perplex me to think that you could love a great big yerk like me. Frida, my clam digger sweetheart, I'm crazy nuts about you. Oh, say, I met Frida at low tide one morning. We was both digging clams like mad. She stopped to pick up her bucket, and I said to myself, not bad. The way she dug clams was so dainty, it just seemed to heat up my blood. Then I dug up close to her, and love was born. When our shovels met in the mud, my heart was pounding like crazy, and her shovel was trembling too. Then I dropped a few clams in her bucket and bashfully said, how do? And now me and Frida go steady. We dig clams together just fine. I scrape the mud off her shovel, she scrapes the mud off of mine. Ah, she is a beautiful creature, with shoulders and neck like a bull. Her hair is so red and so curly, it looks just like rusty steel wool. She's got a cute little sty on her eye, Her heart is pure gold, like her teeth. Soon after we're married, I hope we shall hear the squish in the mud of small feet. For a wedding present, I'm going to get a bigger shovel for my bride. Yeah, then we shall go through life together, digging clams, yeah, digging clams, side by side. Frida, my clam digger sweetheart, I'm passionately cuckoo, yeah, you're such a lulu, I'm a crazy nuts about you.
They really smashed 'em up at the free fair held here recently. The customers really got their money's worth on Thrill Day at this year's fair. Shown above is one of the reconditioned junkers at the moment. It struck another parked car and crashed to the racetrack on his back. The driver, although considerably shaken up, was otherwise uninjured. August 14th, 1945, the day of victory, and we all celebrated. A tremendous job. Well done. From Where I Sit by Joe Marsh. Songs for a Better World. We were sitting around the embers of Ed Crumpet's barbecue last Saturday night, finishing our beer and hot dogs, while Ed strummed the guitar, picking out old, friendly songs. Soon, everyone was singing. The harmony wasn't too good, but the spirit was, a spirit of friendship and good humor. And it made me think how music of the people, overcomes barriers of prejudice and intolerance. A Yankee folk song or an English carol or a Southern melody, they all speak a common language of the heart, bind folks together, help us forget our grudges. From where I sit, music can help to make the whole world kin. Maybe we ought to have a lot more of it. Informal sings around the fire and in the home. And it's sure true that a mellow glass of beer fits into the picture. It just naturally goes with that kind of music. Joe Marsh.
Mother says, me darling, go to the store for me. Get some eggs, some bacon, some coffee and some tea. Drive the flivver slowly, don't bounce it off the rust. And stop at Kelsey's grocery store and get some salted nuts. For Kelsey's nuts are the sweetest in the town. Kelsey's nuts are the neatest, so crisp, so soft, so brown. Some say they're good when they're cold, but I'll say that they're not. If you want to appreciate Kelsey's nuts, get 'em while they're hot. Kelsey's nuts, they are sprinkled with salt that cannot be sold. Kelsey's nuts, they are wrinkled, but still they're not too old. In the Sultan's harem, they smoke camels till their butts, and every night they say a prayer for a couple of Kelsey's nuts. For a couple of Kelsey's nuts.